Did I just find the best film of the year? Maybe let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Poor Things, the newest film from director Yorgos Lanthimos. So in this world of Poor Things, it's a story of Bella Baxter, who is a young woman who committed suicide, was brought back to life by, of course, Goodwin Baxter, who, of course, is played by Willem Dafoe. She, of course, is played by Emma Stone. And she starts out as a young woman with the brain of a child, develops into, a young adult. And it's her journeys, which include coming across people like Duncan Wedderbaum, who, of course, is played by Mark Ruffalo, and people like Jerrod Carmichael, who play Harry Astley. And she learns life. She learns society. She learns everything you can imagine a young person learning and making mistakes. And she is very much a horny individual, so she learns a lot about sex and the kind of natures of how that feels and stuff like that. So it's basically the journey of a young woman and the kind of intricacies and stuff like that, and how people will mistreat her and use her, and how she has to learn and kind of push forward from that. But it's also a Yorgos Lanthimos film, so it really much deals with a very weird kind of subset culture of society in a very tumultuous light. So with that said, Yorgos Lanthimos is not my favorite director in the world, to be fairly honest. I was not a big fan of his earlier works. I did like The Favorite. I think that was in my honorable mentions or something like that, but I thought that was a really well done, really well acted film that also had Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz and stuff like that. So Emma Stone coming back to do another Yorgos Lanthimos film as the lead is something that, was kind of expected, because it's not only an Oscar play, but it's something apparently she loves working with the guy. So, hey, you know what? Do a film, and, as we've seen through the buzz, it's becoming one of the best films of the year, is looking like a guarantee for Emma Stone as the Oscar winner. But it's a film I was very much of trepidation of whether I was going to like it or not, because as much as I liked the trailer, which was just kind of Emma Stone talking to the crowd about the film itself, my take on, of course, Yorgos Lanthimos has just been very kind of weird. It's very much in the Ari Aster, the realm and stuff like that, Ari Aster and Robert Eggers. So I didn't know what I was going to get myself into. I mean, I know it was going to be very, very weird and strange and all that stuff, but I didn't know if I was going to like this movie at all. So I was sent a screener for it. I watched it, and guys, I hate to say this, but this is probably my favorite film of this year. It was The Holdovers, believe it or not. That was going to be my favorite movie of the year, and I didn't think anything else would top it, but this is probably one of the most interesting, one of the most ambitious, one of the weirdest, one of the darkest, one of the most comedic, one of the best performances from an actor this year, maybe outside of Dafoe and Joy Randolph, and it's an absolutely incredible, exhilarating film. It surprised me how much I enjoyed this film. It does get a little weird when it has the Paris, and there's a lot of just sex. It's very horny and all that stuff. But the performances in this movie and the look and feel of this movie it's an extraordinary piece of work. It's right up there with Mad Max Fury Road and up there with Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it transcends what it's trying to do. Watching Emma Stone go from this infant child to this kind of adult that's learning things, and the kind of how she molds into this character, and how the things that she's doing and how she's responding to everything like a child, and how she just kind of plays with the world, and how Yorgos and she use the set pieces and the very much the cool production design, and just kind of use it as a playground to create this world for, like I said, a child wandering through the world, kind of like a Pinocchio. It's just an incredibly enthralling film. It really is. It was something I was completely caught off guard. I was just so happy that I took the chance to watch this film, because once again, I find sometimes that I don't want to watch a film because of the director, but sometimes you just got to jump in that deep end of the ocean, or jump in the deep end of the pool, because you never know what you're going to find. And Emma Stone, absolutely, if there's one actor that absolutely deserves the Oscar for this year, it's what Emma Stone's doing, is her performance in this role. Yes, there are other great actresses and stuff like that, but what Emma Stone is doing here, this completely floored me in a lot of respects. It's such a mesmerizing performance. It's such a weird performance, which is what is perfect for Yorgos Lanthimos. And this is probably her best thing I've ever seen her do. Ever since she came up through like Superbad and Easy A and started kind of really rolling down that hill, of the career that she's gone through, which includes La La Land and stuff like that. It's a performance that really shows how good she is as an actress. You saw it in the, the Birdman movie, how good she was in that, and like I said, La La Land. But this is a career defining performance, and this is a performance that will stick with me for a while. And I just couldn't absolutely believe how good she was in it. It's an absolutely award winning performance, and it's just absolutely mesmerizing. And then on top of that, you get people like Mark Ruffalo, who plays this very despicable man of Duncan Wedderbaum, and he is just outright just disgusting. He's not a very good human being. He uses of course her character. Yes, she loves sleeping with him because she's learning about sex and how good it is, but he is just an absolutely despicable individual, and he's also so good. Mark Ruffalo is a great actor to begin with, but he is so fantastic in this movie. It's absolutely kind of disturbing to watch, to be honest. You're rooting for what Mark Ruffalo is doing, but you realize that he's just a very uncomfortable individual to watch. And you see how she kind of uses him and how he plays along with it, and how like he just kind of just eats into her soul, the darkness that presents itself. It's a really great performance. And the same thing with Willem Dafoe, who plays like a Frankenstein style character, a doctor who not only recreates Bella into this really new interesting character, but he's also showing how good Willem Dafoe has been as an actor his whole career, why he gets the nominations that he does, why he transforms himself, and it's just a really wonderful performance of the character that really supports her, but really starts to see Bella's kind of transformation, and it makes him uncomfortable and stuff like that. It's a really interesting kind of like how he has scars on his face and stuff like that. So, and you also have people like Margaret Qualley in this movie, and Ramy Youssef, and Vicki Pepperdine and stuff like that, who are in this movie. Christopher Abbott's in this movie, and they give all decent performances, but they're barely in the movie, to be fairly honest. There's a couple characters that have some really interesting fun performances, but it really is mostly focused on the three characters that I talked about and how good they are. So those are all Oscar nominated performances and stuff like that. But the thing that truly stands out about this movie, on top of the actors, is the what I call the Wes Anderson effect, where Wes Anderson has kind of molded himself into a very interesting director when it comes to his production design, his cinematography, how he kind of molds and shapes the world around him. These three directors, which include Robert Eggers, Ari Aster, and of course Yorgos Lanthimos, feel like they are kind of like if you were to be a football coach, a very famous football coach, let's say Bill Belichick, and he had people under him who eventually went on to be head coaches and stuff like that. I'm not saying that they were inspired by Wes Anderson. I'm just saying they feel like in that realm of they're creating really interesting looking films with interesting kind of camera movements and camera work. The production design is very different. It's very unconventional. You watch this movie and like the set pieces and stuff like that are very hyper realized, especially when they go to Lisbon and stuff like that. They go to Paris, where everything is like really kind of, it almost feels fake and very art deco in a lot of respects. Lisbon has this very like blown out feel. It feels very much like Synecdoche, New York in a lot of respects, where it's just, there's a lot of like, you can almost feel, it almost feels like a set confined into a world of CG and stuff like that. And like they'll have like robots and machines moving across the sky, and you get to like, they go to Alexandria or something like that. It's like this really cool kind of miniature that you would see in something like a Wes Anderson film or whatnot. And Ari Aster and Robert Eggers are doing the same thing, where they create really interesting visuals with their cinematographer, and they kind of use it to that effect. And that's why their films are so beloved and so kind of always in the awards talk, because of how different they are when they come to being a director and stuff like that. But this movie's cinematography is just gorgeous. Once again, he uses a fisheye lens. He uses like an eyeball lens where like, it's very much enclosed in a circle. I love the idea of like, having the character being focused, and around world around him is kind of like an art painting, where it's like kind of, if you stretched it into like this weird kind of looking world, stuff like that, where it's out of focus and kind of misshapen in a lot of respects. And I really appreciate that, and I thought that was fantastic. And I thought that's what this movie does. It does it in spades and does it really, really well. But it's a very gorgeous looking film. I think the one thing that I really was kind of put off by, but kind of grew on me, is Jerskin Fendrick, who doesn't look like he's done very much before, or has done nothing in the film space. I think he's more of like a composer for like music on his own. He creates a score that is really unconventional, really weird. It was really off-putting when I first listened to it. It's something that starts to grow on you with the weirdness and kind of the intricacies and kind of the audacious nature and kind of how Bella moves. It really feels like a life of its own that kind of, it starts to grow on you after a while. And the more and more it expands, the more and more it feels like it has a beating heart, till it kind of goes to its crescendo at the very end. And I once again, I didn't like it at first, but it kind of grew on me after a while. while. And it's a very different score, something you will never hear. With that said, overall, unless something else I watch in the next like 2 days or whatever, like ups this movie, there's no movie that's going to beat this movie as my favorite movie of the year. Just to let you know now, it was The Holdovers, but this kind of clearly just ran with it and was a delight to watch. Yes, it's very graphic in its nudity and sex, and you know, Emma Stone is willing to go for it, and I do appreciate that. But it's definitely a movie that she definitely deserves the Oscar for, and I hope she gets it. But if she doesn't, I'll definitely understand, but she definitely deserves it. So, but with that said, that is my take on Poor Things, the newest Yorgos Lanthimos film that should be in theaters for everyone by the end of the year. Highly recommend it, especially if you like his films. But once again, it may not be for everyone. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Comments below, what's your favorite Yorgos Lanthimos film? Are you looking forward to seeing this film? All that good stuff. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button, join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.